In 1991, I was living in Soho, New York, and it was a very active time with the, what was it called, Desert Storm, and the war against ostensibly Saddam Hussein. Of course, one needs to consider what the origins were and what part of a role the United States played, along with Iraq as well, in, I can't say in allowing that war to happen, but kind of in letting that war happen. And the miscommunication that preceded Hussein's invasions for purposes of oil, which is, many say, exactly why we went there, and kind of to protect our access to the oil. So I was living in New York City, and it was New York City at that time. It wasn't as much of a tourist place. 42nd Street had changed significantly. It was no longer what it was in the 60s or 50s or even the 70s when I was photographing there. And I was living in Soho, and I would take a walk every night and every morning, about an hour and a half each time. And as the Gulf War escalated, there were more posters that would go up. And some of them were really fantastic. And I thought, this is really great. So I would take it. And I would go with my utility knife, a couple of bags to carry things in, and a whole bunch of baggies in case something was wet or filthy, and I would stick it in the baggie and then put it in my larger bag and take it back to my apartment and kind of archive it, put it away. I think the aesthetic communication varies between elements that are more subtle to graffiti and elements that are overtly political, such as explained figures doing a particular gesture. A flowering of graffiti happens under a number of circumstances, but primarily out of social frustration and out of a desire to make thoughts visible, make thoughts known, not entirely different than with fashion, although fashion is in an economic class that by and large graffiti is not, and that the street is can be kind of a place of democratic expression. And so making graffiti and putting it, leaving it only in my studio kind of doesn't make sense, in as much as it's by and large a public form of communication.